Here's the thing, in Modern Family, there's an entire episode of Modern Family where Claire is trying to get Luke into an ADHD, psychologist so that he can get actually diagnosed with ADHD, because Luke clearly has ADHD, but Phil refuses to ever admit that Luke has ADHD, because to admit that Luke has ADHD would be to admit that Phil has ADHD, and Phil's not down for having to admit that he has ADHD, so he's not going to admit that his son has ADHD, because where would the coolness in that be, right? So anyways, Claire thinks that she's sneaking around. She thinks that she's sneaking behind Phil's back because she's trying to help her son. She's trying to help her son with something that he's clearly struggling with. And Phil follows them to the doctor. He's there before them, which is shocking. Because I am willing to bet that Phil is one of those parents on the street, when they get stopped, who doesn't know his kid's favorite food or the name of any of their friends. Or, what? What? Okay, 1 second. Okay, so anyways, where were we? Phil Dunphy actually manages to go to the appointment, and I'm willing to bet that he's one of the parents who, if they get stopped in the street by that, guy who goes, hey, do you know the name of your kid's doctors? Do you know the name of your kid's friends? He would not know the name of any of them, so it's shocking that he knows this information, but he knows this information specifically because he's trying to get something out of it. The something out of it is proving Claire wrong, because obviously Luke doesn't have ADHD, he's just a little different. To quote Pedro Pascal in that SNL episode, my son no have ADD, he just like to jump! Not really a Pedro Pascal girly, but that's the funniest sketch that SNL has done since saying Margot Robbie was with the guy who did puppets for a living. It's perfect, iconic, amazing, brilliant. Anyways, so they do this appointment. Claire and Phil are fighting the entire time, but they're doing lowercase fighting where they're just talking to each other under their breath. No one's yelling. It's actually a very healthy form of fighting overall, which is why Claire stays with Phil. Because he's useless, but he doesn't yell, and she was raised by someone who yells and is scary, so you can see why. You can see why she would stay with someone like that and think that they're in a healthy relationship when really they're probably not. But, nothing, no. My puppies are not having we told them that we'd go on a WALK soon, and we are going to go on a WALK soon, but I had to do this. My mom had to do her makeup, and I did my makeup first so that my mom could do her hair, and then I did my hair, and now we're doing this while my mom's doing her makeup. So they have to wait a minute because we also have to get the stroller out because Muffy is 15 years old. Anyways, so the important part of this episode is that afterwards, after the appointment, they go up to the garage, and they're parked on the top floor, and Claire goes in one car and Phil goes in the other car, and they both leave Luke behind. They both leave Luke behind, and by both of them leaving Luke behind, neither of them realizes that Luke has been left behind until they're home. And then they don't know what's going on or where Luke is or how that's happening, so they're trying to figure out where their son is. And then Luke magically shows up at Grandpa's place because they're at Jay's in a limo, and he got a ride from a prom couple, and they're like, oh my god, Luke's gonna be fine. Luke's gonna be fine, because if he can manage to do a situation like that and handle a situation like that with such ease and such grace by talking to people and being charming, then he can do anything. He'll be fine. He doesn't need ADHD medication. He doesn't need any special help with his ADHD problems. No, because he knows how to hitch a ride like it's the 1970s, and that's clearly what's gonna save him for the rest of time. Muffy, you're fine. There's water right there. Luke has trouble in school. Luke gets mocked consistently in this family for being the dumb one. Luke has so many jokes about being dropped on his head as a child done about him because of how dumb he is, because he clearly has ADHD and doesn't know how to handle it, so he's always going from one task to another, he can't fully focus. When we do see him later on, yeah, that charm does actually work out for him. The charm and the capability that he has do work out for him in the end when he works at Jay's Country Club. He's actually very good in that position. But, you know what he could have been good at? Because we see that Luke has all these ideas and all these business concepts in his mind and all these things that he could be doing. You know what could have helped with that? Getting help, Muffy. It's okay. I asked you before I closed the door. I said, do you want to be in here? I put him over there, and you said you wanted to stay in here. Anyways, this is Muffy. She's perfect. She's 15, and her back legs have started officially having arthritis, which isn't great because her front legs are she was born without a bone. in one of her front legs, so it's like very twisty. So walking's not the easiest for her right now. We're getting help for it. We're getting help for it. We got her a stroller. Anyways, Luke could have done so much more and could have been so much more if given literally half a chance with the ADHD issues that Claire actively knew that he had. And if she had decided to fight for her child instead of by fighting with her husband, instead of just going, oh, you're right, he'll be fine because he's so good at hitching rides on the side of the fucking road. I don't know, maybe the kid would have been safer or better, or had more in life than working at a country club and been able to get into a college because he couldn't get into a college. And there's no shame with not going to college. Obviously, there's no shame in not going to college, but like, they so actively wanted this kid to go to college and made it his life mission, and then didn't give him any of the help that he would need to be able to go to college. And that part's exhausting. Okay, now I'm putting you on the ground. Now I'm putting you on the ground. Do you see how perfect she is? Do you see this perfection? Look at this perfection. Perfect, baby. Okay. Now we're gonna get the stroller out. It has a cup holder, and we're gonna go for a walk. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. I have to go pop that open and not get pushed over and buy it because I put it in a bad angle. Bye.